Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys all for the wait. Welcome to the Super Breakdown Limited Edition. Today's a very somber day. Level sevens. We got some really, really sad news this morning. I'm your host, Power Maximus. We're here with the one, the only,
Lord
everyone.
Triggers.
Oh, you skipped it.
My fault.
You're not even gonna let them know that you're everyone's favorite demigod.
Well, my bad. It's been one of those days, man. I'm off a beat today. I'll try to be better moving on.
Nah, yeah, bro. We're all off, dude. We're all so off, man. I get a call, get woken up this morning by my boy. Hey, yo, Green Ranger's gone. That that definitely hurt. That definitely hurt a little bit.
Mm.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll touch back on that later on in the show. But we got a few. I got a few other things that we want to touch on. So this past weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend before last, the Super Breakdown team took a trip out to Saratoga. We went to the Saratoga Comic Con, and it was interesting. It was interesting. It was my first Comic Con. Not my first con in general. I was going out to Anime Con out in the city. But this was my first actual like Comic Con, and I had a good time. I had a good time. My pockets were a little light though, so I couldn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. But this man Triage over here he was in La La Land.
Well, yeah, this was my third time doing something like this, and like you say, when you do these things, you gotta have your funds be right. Otherwise, your eyes will be bigger than your wallet.
Yeah, yeah, and usually my wallet be screaming at me, telling me, "Hey, yo, don't spend that. What are you doing? Don't do that." No. But that time around, my wallet was saying, "Bro, you got to buy that. Oh, you got to get that too." What? They got this, man. My pockets was hurting as I was walking out because it was sad that I didn't spend anything, and that makes me sad. um, but no, we had a good time out there. A lot of really really dope cosplays going on out there. Quite a lot of furries. Um,
Quite a lot.
really cool. Yeah, which was really cool. I personally myself, I don't understand it, but what I do respect is I do respect the time and the craft that goes into actually, building, there's, the suit and stuff like that, and like the creativity that comes along with it. I definitely 100% respect that because I thought everyone looked cool. I thought they looked pretty dope. Um, there was a few relatively big names there. Nobody that anyone's going to be jumping for joy about. But again, it's a small con, so it's to be expected. But overall, I felt like it wasn't crowded, like as in like the stands, like the
Right.
booths and stuff like that. It was actually you had a decent amount of room to walk around. There was a lot. There was a lot of vendors, a lot of vendors. But they made it comfortable. You're not bumping into people. Everyone had enough room to kind of move around, squeeze through here and there. Um, and it was like what? It was like two. They took up two whole halls, and then they had the meeting hall upstairs for one of the events.
Yup.
Yeah, so they made sure that everyone had a lot of room and everyone was really really comfortable. We saw some really, really, really dope vendors there too. Um, I don't know. I personally more so liked it. It was more the 3D printing dude, the dude that does the 3D printing.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the. Hold on, I think I have his card somewhere over here.
Was Omega level printing?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yep. Omega level printing, 3D printing. Yo, I'm gonna do my best to tag a lot of these vendors in this, so they see that we're showing love and stuff, and that we support them. Um, my other favorite one was pretty interesting was the Vamp Wire. That was pretty interesting. I'll link that in in the comments as well if anyone's interested in what that is. Essentially, a cybernetic vampire in short term, cybernetic vampire. So if anybody's interested in the cybernetic vampire, we will have that down below. What was yours?
The Funko Pop Mountain. That and the guy with the lightsabers.
You know what? I should have known that you were gonna go with the Funko Pop Mountain. I should have known. Because there was a few. There was like, from my count, there was like 3 booths that were doing, no, 4 that were doing Funko Pops.
Yeah.
There was a dude in the main in the first center that had them, and then there were like 3 dudes in the big hall. You know, it's a one that had like a whole like corridor of Funko Pops. There was like 2 of them that had huge giant corridors, both like double-sided corridors with with Funko Pops. That was some pretty cool.
And I'll say it before, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you don't have a Funko Pop, you are not famous.
So what are you trying to say, bro? Trying to say, I'm not famous, bro.
Oh, I got ours on back order. What you talking about?
There you go. Yeah, look out for that, guys. We're working on it. That's something we got in the works. Get some Funko Pops going for us. But yes, Hooked on Sabers, the lightsaber guy, Hooked on Sabers. He was that was pretty cool. Again,
Super dope.
I love lightsabers. He had Ahsoka's dual sabers. That was really dope. That was really cool. So and that's what hurt me the most. That hurt me the most because I really, really wanted to buy those sabers. And the prices are bad. The prices are not bad. I think I saw the lowest is like what, 120, 130.
Yep.
And he can customize it for you too. They do shipping and stuff. So I'll link that information below as well. Hooked on Sabers. That was really cool. And he was super, super, super Star Wars lore knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually spent the last few days binging Rebels after he told me to.
Yeah. After he told me to. It seriously be like that. Now on top of those guys, there was also some really, really dope artists in there, man. Really, really dope artists. Mine, the one that I really liked, I love the art style. I love their comics. It looked dope. The Darkstream Studios. He was the guy that we were talking to about about Marvel and DC and how they really should set things up.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a really, really dope conversation, and his art is absolutely amazing. I believe his name is Jared Brown. Yeah. It was amazing. With the coloring, he's an illustrator and graphic designer, and so so a lot of his work he said he likes to keep all that in house. So I was like, hey, that's what you gotta do. Save that money, bro. Save that money. But also makes you an asset too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Then we had Mightiest Entertainment. They have it's not a singular comic book, but it is. It's like their own little universe that they're building right now, with a bunch of different supernatural hunters, vampire hunters, demon hunters, witch hunters, stuff like that. And then each one of those books all ends up coming together into one final battle. I'm definitely looking forward to that, and they're local too. They're local. You said they're based out of Clifton Park, I believe. No. I think Gloversville. One of the two, Clifton Park or Gloversville. But their art was absolutely amazing. And then Art by Mar. I don't know. It was one of the booths that we walked by that just had a lot of the hand drawn art. I think it was the one with the that had the drawing of Thriller Michael.
Yes.
Yeah, that shit was sick. That shit was so sick, dude. Like I've seen some good art in my time, but I don't know this that attention to detail that they had was just phenomenal. What are some of the highlights that for you? You know,
Well,
you got the Funko
for
Pops
me,
and
first
the
and foremost,
figures.
one, it's always the collectibles. Always, 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 always. So the
Uh
second I can get some stuff that I can customize or hang on a wall or show off once I get it, I'm sold.
huh.
But the thing that did it for me was he was actually partnered with the Vampire
hmm
booth. And it was a
Oh, the
gentleman who
comic guy.
yes,
Yeah. Mm.
I actually bought the second appearance of the Black Panther with the first appearance of M'Baku.
Hmm. Oh man. Yeah, I was so fucking jealous, dude. I was so fucking jealous. Oh my god. But dude, dude, he had to have a few hundred comic books there, dude. Had to have a
And
few hundred.
and I was just pulling them out, looking at them, and I had to figure out which ones I wanted to buy, which ones I could buy. He was giving me deals on the prices too, and that's always a nice thing. But it's like once again, I can't let my eyes be bigger than my wallet.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and he had some good stuff there too. You know, he had some really good big comics, but also some hidden gems too. He had a lot of
Yes,
hidden gems there. Um, so there was a few comic books there that I'm going in now and I'm taking a look at them, reading up on them. You know, see what they look like. Um, and I'm very very intrigued. I really look forward to doing this next year. We try to go live, but their Wi-Fi was trash. So their Wi-Fi was trash. So we'll try to set something up maybe outside of the event. Maybe outside of the event to maybe over in the parking garage because that fifth floor of the parking garage was empty. So see if I can try to set something up next year where it's just us. We can just go to the parking garage and live stream from there. Um, or have like an on-site correspondent. Have you call in, have one of us call in on the phone to the podcast while we're out there.
right.
That could really work. Actually, that could work. That could seriously work. Um, so for me, I would definitely say it would. Oh, the dude with the swords.
Yes.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, there was a booth there. There's a vendor there who did custom. Well, he did his own forging and casting for blades, and then he also did custom engraving for like rope type weapons. It was essentially like a really really thick and heavy piece of chunk of metal at the end of a bunch of parachute cord. And he can engrave it with whatever you want. But he had some blades there. He had I believe one of the blades was like a replica Witcher blade.
Mm.
Yeah, and he had a bunch of knives and stuff that he forged himself, and they were clean. They were beautiful, beautiful knives. That hurt my pocket too. That hurt my pocket. I really wanted to cry because I'm like I love blades. I love blades. Man, that's definitely a go-to for me. My birthday's coming up. My birthday's tomorrow. So if anybody wants to get me some, give me something I can poke things with. I'm so down with that. But it was an interesting time. It was a really interesting time. We met a lot of interesting people. Um, do you have the information for the first the like the second or third vendor we went to? He did the custom Funko Pop art.
Yes.
All right, cool. Because while we were there, I ended up backing out of it on my phone, so I lost the information for it. Because I scanned the QR code And I ended up backing out of it and I'm losing it. But yeah, man, it was really fun. I'm definitely going next year. Next year we're New York City Comic Con. That is a goal. I'm gonna start my own little fund, where we so we can stack up cash so we can take that trip out there. Both days we're going out there. Both days. Um, and dude, I love the fact that we were able to wear the prototype level 7 hoodies.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like that helped a lot too. We had a lot of people who were checking us out too. TSB, bro, we're grown, we're growing. So the Comic Con was a quite a good time. Now something that I want to I want to transition over to the next segment here, because I want to make sure we have as much time as possible to really dissect this movie. Now, for anyone who gets angry, for anyone gets angry, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. We're going to be talking about Wakanda Forever. If you haven't seen it, you might want to leave for the next hour. You might want to leave for the next hour. But yeah, massive spoiler alert. You go first. You tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts on Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
It was a long movie, but a good movie. I thought the
Mm-hmm.
story was solid considering they completely had to rewrite the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way they paid homage to Chadwick Boseman and the way that they acknowledged his real world struggle and the way he kept his issues to himself, I think that was very important.
Yep.
And I would like to point out that everyone who played their character to a fucking T.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know. But that's just what Marvel does. They I've never seen anything that had like any company that had that has like this level of their casting directors are phenomenal. They cast phenomenal actors, and they cast them in the right roles too. They cast these guys, these actors that not only can they play the role, but aesthetically, visually, they look the role too. I have my own personal feelings towards Letitia Wright, but but I feel like I don't think they could have got anybody better. That one like gives you that visual aesthetic of Shuri, but then it can also play that character to a fucking T. And of course, the queen of all queens, Queen Angela Bassett. I just feel like you can't go wrong casting Angela Bassett. You can't. You really can't.
That's the
Um,
Queen Mother. Listen,
that's the
that
Queen
woman,
Mother.
that woman has been Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, the mother of the Jacksons, the mother of Christopher Wallace. She's been the mother of Trey Styles. That woman has been, in my opinion, outside of our community, is one of the most underrated actors of a generation. You hear me?
I 100% wholeheartedly agree. Like she was everyone's mother and got her groove back.
As a whole fact.
Like, it's just the movie it was a bit of a it was a little bittersweet for me. It was definitely bittersweet. Um but again, I agree with you with everything that you said right there. Like it pays homage masterfully, but it doesn't dwell too hard on it so that it overrides the story that they're trying to tell.
Right, right. And
And oh, go ahead.
Well, the one thing that did bother me about the movie was there is a very strong lack of male presence. And my thing, like especially like with the black community, is that we are a generation of men raised by women.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I appreciate any strong black woman, so I will never knock. And that's why I said I will never knock no one's performance. I will never knock the standard or the message they were delivering. But it's also one of them things like you can't raise a man has to raise a man to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know I'm probably going to get some backlash for this, but that's my feelings. That is what it is. We have a generation of men being raised by women. And I feel like without showing that strong male presence like we got in the first movie between, and it's not even just Chadwick alone. Like we had Michael B. Jordan in the way he carried himself as Killmonger, like Winston Duke in the way he approached M'Baku. And I think he's done a decent job with his character. Even like the little interaction you saw when he was on the astral plane when Chadwick Boseman talked to his father, I was just like, you keep getting that parental male guidance. And even when Killmonger spoke to Njobu, like you just get it. And it's not there at all in this movie.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I feel like the only strong male roles that we got was again, spoiler alert, Michael B. Jordan, Linda Jaka coming back, for the astral plane to talk to Shuri, and then M'Baku. Nothing against Namor at all. I absolutely love his actor. Amazing.
I do too, but Namor ain't black.
Yeah, but he represents so hard for his people and his culture, and for the Mayan, Aztecian, the Latin culture in general. So for his people, that's what he does for his people.
Oh yeah,
for his people, he's their Chadwick. He's their Panther.
he's like his people call him a Kunkunkani. They call him the Feather Serpent God.
Mm-hmm. And I love how they tie that in too, because because even then we see this character before. We've seen this character before. Well, at least with that, by his original name. Because if anyone's played Mortal Kombat, that's who Kotal Khan is.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yep, that's who Kotal Khan is.
Well, you saw Love and Thunder, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, and this is something else I didn't know till recently. When Thor visits that room, that the place where all the gods are, I forget the name of it at this moment. My fellow level 7, forgive me. When that happens, apparently the Aztec god is there also.
Yeah, he is. I gotta watch it, but they show him for a split second, because when they're
Right?
talking about, oh look, there's this god here, that god here, the Mayan god, they actually show him.
Because it was
They
like
actually
how
show him.
they show in the movie that Bass was actually sitting in front of Thor. So there's a fan theory that states, what if that the reason why Namor appeared, because what is it they call Namor? They call him the Feather Serpent God, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if Namor was Sekhmet, the serpent god in Africa, choosing him as an avatar? And that's the reason why he rose up and speak to Wakandans, because the Wakandans didn't have an avatar because, excuse me, yes, the Wakandans didn't have an avatar to represent them because T'Challa is dead and Bass could not choose someone.
Yeah, because Killmonger burned the earth, so they didn't have a panther for a whole year.
Right? So if all the African gods are related, like we found out in Moon Knight, like if Bass went, yo, I'm having an issue, can you see if you can sort this shit out? And he's like, I bet, like I got this cat in the ocean, he a little unpredictable, but he could probably help out with shit.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Because I don't care nobody says, the Egyptian gods are also African gods. So don't forget that. People tend to forget that. Um, but like I love that this world of gods that Marvel is building, and they most definitely drop those little Easter eggs in Love and Thunder, so that we can sit here and make these, draw, connect the dots and draw these lines. Um, for me, I I agree. There certainly was that lack of strong male, lead roles. But again, this is also a part of the agenda that Marvel and Disney are running right now as well. They're starting to build, that the girl power, female power, strong women leads. Um, I feel like they didn't execute it very too well in this. I feel like the only strong female leads we really got, of course, mother of all, Queen Angela Bassett, of course. Um, yeah, oh my God, dude, she had me. She definitely did have me tear up quite a few times. You know, um, especially when, spoiler alert, especially when she's talking to shit, um, Okoye. When she's going off on Okoye about, Shuri getting kidnapped and shit like that, bro. Like, you could feel the wrath and anger of a mother as she was speaking,
Like I gave you one simple job and you fucked it up.
and you continuously have fucked it up. Everyone in this court turned their backs on me. You chose to follow Unajaka in the back then. Like that shit. I'm like, she felt, you can feel the betrayal in her voice, and that shit was just, it just strongly, it's so stood out to me. Um um so it's it was emotional for me. It was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. I feel like it lost it towards the end, towards the build up there. Towards the coming of the final battle. I really feel like it was leading up to one thing and then completely switched up on us. Especially after Shuri seeing Killmonger and him telling, her, giving that line. That's another thing. There's a lot of classic lines, and a lot of these classic lines are delivered by Michael B. Jordan's character.
Yeah. He's like, why
Even in the
did you
first
take the
one.
herb? He's like, why did you take the herb? She's like, because I wanted to see my family. He's like, yeah, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. And I love his character. It's just he's so straightforward.
Like, yeah,
Straightforward.
there's no bullshit.
Yeah, stop bullshitting me. I know, and you know exactly what you did and why you did it. Stop playing. You be noble like your brother, or get shit done like me. You know, and I that right there, that line right there really made me think. Like, well, shit. Made me think about my own life and like, shit. I need to start getting shit done. Maybe I gotta crack some eggs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And really push through and stop. Take a step back from the noble route and just focus on getting shit done. How I need to get shit done. You know, um, I feel like this movie did a great job, amazing, fantastic job at really just showing the stages of grief. And I feel like that's something that every last person in this world can relate to. The grief of a mother, the grief of a sister, the grief of a nation. Everyone, everyone can relate to that. Everyone can relate to the what do they call it? The step of denial. Everyone can relate to the step of anger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then in the end, everyone can everyone can. I'm gonna not say everyone. but most people can relate to the level of acceptance. And it was a real emotional roller coaster. You know, especially when she says, "Listen, I'm not trying to think about my brother, because if I think about my brother, I'm gonna burn this world down." I'm like, oh shit.
Like, yeah, where did that level of rage come from?
Yeah, because again,
You,
you know, Shuri's character has never been one, you know, to show that level of emotion and to see that character growth. Because again, remember, we're time skipping like a whole year. There's a whole year that she's been that you know her emotions and she's been having them build up inside of her. You know, she's been feeling that the hell's the word I'm looking for. She's been feeling that, you know, of course the grief, but she's also been feeling like the regret. She felt, and she felt like she was responsible for saving her brother. You know that you know that because she wasn't smart enough or strong enough, or you know she wasn't enough to save her brother, to save her king. You know that it's her fault that he died. And again, that's something that I feel like a lot of people can relate to as well. You know, having someone pass and then feeling that, you know, and then feeling that remorse and that regret of, you know, damn, I could have did something. Why wasn't I strong enough to do something? Why couldn't I help? You know, and I personally took that personal because of my, you know, my own, you know, outside struggles that I've had throughout my life. So I definitely took that very personal. Like this movie, I take a lot of it. I take a lot of it to heart. You know what I mean? Because I personally know what it's like to grieve for a brother.
me too.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, it's very tough. And for this movie, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm sitting there, you know, I'm sitting, I'm tearing up as I'm watching it, you know, watching certain scenes because I'm like, damn, I know that feeling. Damn, I felt that. You know, I definitely feel like, again, I give them 100% kudos on the product that they gave us. It was a great product when you look at, you know, the trials and tribulations that they had to go through to get here. You know, having to completely rewrite the script from scratch, damn near from scratch. You know, and they still were able to pull out an amazing product that had such a great and amazing message with, and I gotta hand it to the actors too, the actors as well, because they're the ones that had to sit there and go through and relive these emotions that they had already felt a year past. So now
Right.
they're trying to give this performance while they're also still like actually feeling it. You know, and I definitely absolutely give them kudos to that. Now, was it just me, or did it look like Namor wanted a piece of Shuri?
He was definitely trying to try. He was definitely trying to try some Wakandan fruit. That's for damn sure.
He definitely wanted a piece of that forbidden fruit.
You heard what Riri said. That's the way it always starts.
Oh, speaking of Riri's character, um, personally, I wasn't really too impressed. I'm impressed with the actor. You know, absolutely. I loved her. I loved the way she played the role. I didn't like the way they wrote the character though.
they used they used a frontline character. Excuse me. They used a potential frontline character as a filler character. That was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Riri's character has too much star power in that aspect for her to be used in such a small part. I get that they wanted to introduce her, but they didn't do it well to me in this movie. And the other thing I thought that was really interesting is the fact that brilliance cannot be dimmed by no means. Like, for example, Benedict Cumberbatch, when he speaks, like, I believe he's Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Even Robert Downey Jr. in the way he carried himself, like I believe he's Tony Stark. It's like
Absolutely.
Shuri too. Like Shuri speaks to a certain level of intelligence. Now, it's not so much that it was because Riri was from an urban area. It was just like the way they wrote her character. Like there was nothing that she really said where I was like, "Oh my god, this girl's brilliant."
Yeah, exactly, and that's the same thing that's getting me. Like when Shuri talks, they gave her moments where she was able to show her brilliance. They didn't do that with Riri's character
At all.
at, at all. She never had. Only moment she had was shit, I'm gonna die. You serious? Goddamn, fuck. Like that's all the moments that she really had. You know what I mean? Even when it came to her suit, when we see the prototype for her suit, they gave no backstory, no, didn't have her do any kind of technical jargon whatsoever. It was just like, oh, I have a suit. I'm putting on the suit. We're getting out of here. How did you build the suit? What's the background to the suit? When did you start building it? How did you build it? You know what I'm saying? You know, even when they were talking to her about the vibranium detector, she gave zero technical jargon about how she built it.
And how do you build? I'm curious. Like, how does she build how does she build a detector for a material that no one has any trace of?
Again, uh, it's tough, you know, because as we see in this, you know, Wakanda's not the only place that has vibranium, you know. So, and of
Well, once
course,
again,
like we
like,
saw in the first Avenger, you know, Captain America first Avenger, you know, they forged. Oh shit! Now I really think how was Howard able to build and mold Captain America's shield? If the only way the Wakandans are able to forge vibranium into weapons is by using ultrasonic frequencies to counteract, to essentially deactivate the material itself. How the hell was Howard Stark back in the what 60s or some shit back then able to forge a shield? Am I right or am I wrong? I don't I don't know. I'm not that's just something that it's not registering, it's not connecting to me. Because again, like you said, if Wakanda's supposed to be the only place that has vibranium, how was she able to build a vibranium detector? Two, if you look all the way back, how was Howard Stark able to make Captain America's shield? If he didn't have the technology that the Wakandans do, you know, in the, you know, the 20th 20, you know, you know, nowadays. I don't know. I just feel it don't make sense to me. It just don't make no sense to me. I don't know. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So like, for me, it's just like Riri. They did not write her character very well. She is like you said, she's a frontline character, and they essentially put her on the back burner. They absolutely 100% put her on the back burner, and that pisses me off. That pisses me off so much because we spent all this time waiting to see Riri Williams and her character, and then they just up and essentially dub her. I don't know. That bothers me so much, so much. But ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. So I'll take a quick little commercial break. You know, hang out, listen to the lovely music. We'll be right back. now listening to WMG Podcast, Building and Cultivating Excellence. Thank you. You are now listening to WMG Podcast, Building and Cultivating Excellence. Thank you. You are now listening to WMG Podcast, Building and Cultivating Excellence. Thank you. You are now listening to WMG Podcast, Building and Cultivating Excellence. Thank you. All right, and we are back. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us a few moments. Sometimes we gotta take breaks like that in between, just to make sure everything's acting right, everything's running right. Um. But yeah. So before the break, we were just finishing up talking about Wakanda Forever. Um.
Yes.
Yeah. It.
There was one thing I want to touch base on though,
Yeah.
and that one thing is the way they left that cliffhanger up in the air at the end.
Yeah. 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 I feel that. I feel
I'm
that.
not I'm not gonna go with the post credit thing because I don't want to bring that up, but I am gonna talk about everything that's happened with M'Baku.
Yeah. That cliffhanger, I feel like it wasn't set up very well. It wasn't set up like who's he challenging?
I mean, it made
Shuri's
sense
not
from what
there.
happened in the movie,
Yeah. Because I
but
get it. He's upset. He's mad at Shuri. Because for the one for they lost so many people. He lost a lot of his people in that final battle scene. Like so, I get why he'd be upset, and he felt like Shuri completely disregarded anything he was saying about finding peace, not war. You know what I mean? Or and he was saying like war is not something we want to really go to with this guy because at the end of the day, like he got some real goons on his squad. He has an entire army. He has a whole group of people. We are a fractured people right now. But when we don't even have a panther, and you want to go to war right now, I see. I just feel like it wasn't set up all the way. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
well, and I'd like to acknowledge first and foremost, I really like Winston Perdue in his portrayal of the character. And I believe he's more about his people and how he represents. He's a very strong symbol of pride to me. And I think that's really cool.
I
But
agree.
the thing I don't like is that, like, the more time goes by, the more they're like shying away from the nature of his character.
Agreed.
Because in the comics, the Jabari were an isolated tribe. This is very true, and they did pray to the white gorilla god, as they constantly say, glory to Hanuman. But I'm confused because, like in the comics, they're almost like a borderline separatist cult. Like that's really what they refer to them as in the comics, is a cult. So, for example, like just like how the Panther has the totem of Bass that you see over Mount Bashinga,
Mm-hmm.
in the Jabari lands, it's a gorilla eating bast.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. All right. So I definitely can see why I definitely see that. That's a very big difference to the way they have the character being portrayed in the movies because essentially they're legit supposed to be like a separate nation.
right.
In
Like
in return.
it said that he killed a white gorilla, bathed in its blood, and ate its still beating heart to gain his strength.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like anything this character would do.
Right now, I get it. There's a lot of negative racial undertones with the character in the Jabari tribe. That's one of the reasons why he's called that. They call him by his surname and not his name from the comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that because there's gonna be some kind of
Yeah,
something.
there definitely gonna be some racist blowback behind that. So Disney actually did away with that. That way they could avoid any blowback from it. But I think was actually rather intelligent.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the fact that they did that, but I feel like they should have gave him, like you said, more characteristics
I mean, if
of.
they still wanted to give him like a cold name,
Oh, hold on, you're cutting out. You're chopping up. You're chopping up. All right, try again. Can you hear me, Triage? right, you're back now. What were you saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother, you're chopping all the way up, cutting all the way out, man. I can't hear you at all. I think we lost him. We lost him. Dang. Oh, I think what he was trying to go for was essentially on all like M'Baku definitely they need to give him more traits of his source material character. And this is essentially kind of like the complete opposite of his source material character. His source material character was not one who was one. First off, he was a villain. He was one of the Black Panthers like biggest villains. You know, it was him. Claw is like it's part of his rogue gallery, and in the movies, it's you see him as a friend to the Wakandans, a friend to the Panther, a friend to those who, those who prayed to Bast. When in reality, in their source material, it was opposite. It was opposite of that. This is my shit over here. That's your shit over there, and that's the way we're gonna run it. Don't cross this line. I won't cross that line. You want the smoke, you can have it. And it's just it's not there. Again, the actor is phenomenal, and I really feel like if they wrote that character, if they wrote the character that way, he could 100% pull it off. Without a doubt, would be able to 100% pull it off. But again, now we are sitting and waiting to see what this in cut scene really truly means. And it's like for me, it didn't really make much sense because as we see, Shuri's not even in Wakanda. Shuri's queen now. And last I checked, the way it works is you gotta fight the person in charge, you gotta fight the king or queen. Shuri's not there. So who is he challenging? Who is he fighting? Who is he looking to take the mantle from? If Shuri's not there to challenge him. So that's something I'm interested in, looking forward to them definitely expanding on a little bit more. I'll start up on the on the in cut scene. While Triage works to get back into the broadcast, it's very smart writing. For those of you who have seen Black Panther, and for those of you who have seen that last cut scene, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about here. It was smart writing because they absolutely refused to recast Chadwick, which I 100% agree with and I back 100%. But the way they wrote this is so they can recast them later on and it'll still work. And he's back.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Loud and clear.
Am I coming in clear? Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
So yes, like I was saying before, we had technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
M'Baku.
Yeah.
I want them to come a little bit more closer to his comic book counterpart. Like, for example, we went over an episode of the breakdown when we talked about Deathstroke, Slade Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see him as a villain, we see him as an anti-hero. We never really see him as a good guy. I feel like in M'Baku, we need to see more of that anti-hero bad guy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I get
That's what
that they
that's what I
tried
was
to.
saying. You were gone. Yeah.
I get they tried to tie it in a little bit, but there are certain dynamics between the Jabari that are extremely different from the other tribes. Like one of them, I thought that was really interesting. I didn't even notice this until someone pointed it out. Was, for example, while M'Baku is the leader of his people don't have an elder.
Mm.
All the other tribes do.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
While all the other tribes use vibranium, Jabari don't.
Hmm. You're starting to chop up a little bit again.
So it's like
Um.
technically,
You're coming in clear now.
would that affect the rest of Wakanda?
And now, and here's the
Because
other
you're
thing
gonna
that
have some
I'm.
people who are like, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." Then you're gonna have other people who are gonna be like, "It's gonna have their whole lives uprooted because that's all they've ever known." As he said that he's completely against this whole modernization.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Now I'm really thinking about it because I didn't think about it that way. But I'm really thinking about, yeah, if he does come into power, like all that high tech, all this and that, everything that Shuri and the people before her have worked to build, he's most definitely gonna put a kibosh to that. He's like you said, they are. What's the word that you said? They're. I mean, of course, they're a cult. They're extremists.
Separatists.
They're Yeah, yep. They believe in the old ways and tradition and all this newfound technology and this and that, using vibranium from this, using vibranium for that. Like, no, it's a weapon. Use it as a weapon. And even then, they don't even use it.
Nope.
You know. So I can definitely see where that problem's gonna come in. I definitely agree with you. They gotta go with more source material wise. Um, I think maybe they were doing it this way to show where that divide begins. Maybe this is their way of starting that divide between Wakanda and the Jabari. Because that I feel that would be really interesting as well. Have that divide start because Shuri chose to bring them into a war that he didn't want anything to do with, and ended up
Well,
getting his
hold it.
people killed.
Here, technically, this is the third. This is the third or fourth time this has happened because the Jabari didn't want to get involved when Killmonger showed up, but
Mm-hmm.
T'Challa talked him into it. Then let's not forget again, the Jabari got involved when the Black Order showed up because they were looking after the Mind Stone. Then let's not forget
Oh,
again, the Jabari had to get involved in Endgame. Now, granted, Thanos was a big enough threat to the point where you kind of had to deal with him.
yeah, that's like an everybody situation.
Yeah, because
Like
he killed
everything before,
indiscriminately.
yeah,
So,
everything before that, it's like that was the Wakandans' problem, and the Jabari got pulled into it.
right? But it's also one of them scenarios where I'm acknowledging shit is happening because of the calls you're making, my guy.
Yeah, they wouldn't, they wouldn't have to, they wouldn't be worrying about the UN and other countries trying to sneak in and steal their shit if the Wakandans hadn't made the call to be open and talk about shit.
Right?
That scene, I definitely want to try somebody in that scene because I love that scene. Just a back photo real quick. That scene was dope.
Oh, which is at the UN?
Well, yeah, but yeah. The when the French are trying to seize the Wakandan research lab and still and still the vibranium, know, uh, I was like, oh, they about to start a war. Oh snap! They open up the vault. Here come Okoye. in the fucking Dora Milaje coming through. I'm like, oh, it was a trap. It was a trap the whole time.
And no, one more thing I'm a little confused on because Lord knows I miss shit from time to time. Did they ever mention whatever happened with the one Dora that wasn't part of the squad?
The one that Okoye was rolling with in the new suit.
Yes.
Yeah, they was together. They was at the party or celebration at the end.
But no, but they never explained like why she wasn't with the other Dora. Like, was she undercover? Like, I felt like her character wasn't introduced well, and it wasn't really explained well. Because I know her and Io are actually a couple in the comics.
Yeah, and they're a couple in the movie too. All right. What? Okay. Wait. Was it Io? Io was the one that had the those daggers that Shuri made, right? Was that Io?
No,
No.
Io
That was Chris.
is the one that replaces Okoye.
Yeah, and so, but the chick that was like outside, she was the one with the daggers.
Yes.
Yeah.
See,
Well, remember
in
because
the
there
comic,
is,
she was the Dora also.
but they had
Go ahead.
but the Dora Milaje, the Dora also has that secret that black squad that they do, like the special ops. They also have like a spec ops squad as well. They're not a part of the Dora, but they act on behalf of Wakanda. When Wakanda need to do some shit under the cover of night, they have this spec ops squad going undercover, and that's what that suit was for. That's what those new suits were supposed to resemble. Because Okoye, they never reinstated Okoye, did they? I don't remember them reinstating
No,
Okoye as
Io is still leader.
Yeah. So that's what that's supposed to be. That's supposed to be that little spec ops thing. That's what Okoye and the chick are supposed to be starting, that little their own little side thing. They still answer, to the leaders of Wakanda, but they do that, they do the undercover shit. That's something that I ended up coming through. Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, now you are.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I kind of like got from it. That's yeah, the ugly suits.
I'm like, did I miss something? Was something not explained? Like,
Yeah, there was definitely something missing. It wasn't made to. They didn't address it 100%, but so you really got to watch to kind of like understand like what's going on in in the moments. There was a few moments like that in the movie, but again, we're looking at a completely rewritten script, and then only mind you now this
all right, it might have been one of those things where I got left on the cutting room floor.
exactly the original script that they had been working on. They had been working on that before the first Black Panther even released. And they were supposed to go into production, and then unfortunately, Chadwick passed away. They were supposed to go into production, but so they literally had to scrap. What was it, like 2, 3 years worth of a script, and then rewrite another script in in like less than a year, so they can, well, in a year or so they can, in less than 2 years actually. Yeah, it was less than 2 years because Chadwick passed away, what, 19?
No, he died 2020. He died in a quarantine.
Yeah. Yep. And yeah. So even then, and now we're in 22. So they had to get a whole new script because they hadn't even started shooting yet when he passed away. So they had to get a whole new script and film the movie and then be able to release it now in 2022. So they literally had to write and shoot this film and finish it, everything, not just shooting the scenes, but actually like fully finish the film in 2 years. That's a lot. As somebody that's really, really heavily into filmmaking and video production, that is a lot to do. That is a lot to do. On top of that, their budget probably got cut as well. So like I said, a lot of the things that I see, a lot of plot holes I see, I'm gonna look over them because of the fact of the mitigating circumstances that come along with this film. It's again, there was just a lot going on, and I'm just glad that they didn't pull a Fast and the Furious, and that I don't know, it's tough. It was a tough call to even. It's got to be a tough call to even continue. You know what I'm saying with this story, but let alone to actually like put out a good product after going through all that. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for this. Now on to the last. I want a quick transition. Before we wrap it up here. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, we woke up to some really, really sad news. And it definitely has me rattled a little bit. It's tough when you hear that your childhood heroes pass away. And this morning we heard, unfortunately, Jason David Frank, unfortunately commit suicide. And that's really tough. That's really, really tough. Everyone, he was loved by so many, and he was a role model for a lot of people like me, who
and me.
Yeah, who growing up, we were into martial. I got into martial arts after watching him spin kick Austin St. John in the face when he first premiered as the Green Ranger. At that point, I'm like, oh, I want to be able to jump and spin kick people in the face that I don't like. I'm down with that. But even then, just seeing that the evolution of him and his character, it did a lot for me growing up and getting older. As I got older, so yeah, it was really tough news to hear. He was one person that I was really, really looking forward to meeting. At these Comic Cons, it sucks. I feel like, damn, I missed my opportunity to meet my heroes. So it definitely hurts and definitely stings, and I can only imagine what his family is going through right now. So for me, that's that's what he was for me. He was a role model. He was a hero, somebody that I really looked up to, and I saw the level of success. Not many people can hold on to one shtick for so long and still have such a massive level of success with it. And he did.
And not have resentment towards the character and not feel bitter about it.
Exactly. And
like he really embraced playing Tommy Oliver.
Absolutely. And the whole Ranger community is, we took a big hit today. And it sucks because like that original team of Rangers is like, fortunately, Trini passed all those years ago. Also, St. John's about to go to prison for 20 years. Only people that we got left from the original run is David Yost, and Walter Jones and Amy Jo. And I don't know. What was it like? What was it like for you growing up? And seeing the character of Tommy Oliver go from Green Ranger, White Ranger, well, God, Green Ranger
It's
to Wookiee Ranger,
definitely a loss,
Wookiee,
man.
yeah, and like yeah, it definitely. Oh, he cut out again. He dropped out. Connection dropped again. But yeah, man, it's you know, my heart goes out, to his wife, well, his ex-wife. My heart goes out to all of his kids. Um, that it's tough. It's really, really tough. And I feel like suicide and depression is like it's no laughing matter. It's serious, very, very serious. And if you, to anyone who's watching, if you ever are feeling that way, if you ever are having those thoughts, absolutely 100%, let someone know. There's it happens to us all sometimes. It doesn't make you weak, not at all. It makes the fact of you saying something, that's what makes you strong. Being brave and coming out and letting people know, hey, listen, I need help. And that's fine. Everyone needs help sometimes. This world and this life it's unforgiving at times. And it shows no mercy a lot of the time. So it's okay to need some backup. It's okay to need people in your corner. So I personally, just if you're ever feeling that way, give the National Suicide Prevention Hotline a call. You know, 988. Wherever you are, look it up. Get the information you need to help yourself and better yourself. Because you know the world is a better place with you in it. Everyone has a light, and that light shines, and everyone needs to feel that light on their face. Don't let your light go out. Seriously. Um, Again, like today was it was tough. I know a lot of people like, what? You didn't even know the person. You didn't even know them really. This is a person that we've grown up watching, watching interviews, later on in life, following on Instagram, Facebook, being shown a part of their life and stuff like that. And especially it being a person that has been, their influence on the world had made a large influence on one's life. It gets emotional when you feel like that light's not there anymore. So yeah, many of us didn't know him personally, but that we can still feel that light is no longer in this world. And it's a hit, it's a blow. You know, just, mental health is highly important. It's one of the most important things in this world that you can do to take care of yourself. So if you have those thoughts, if you have those feelings, there are people that are here to help you. And this goes out to our level 7 community. If you guys just need to vent, reach out. Reach out. You know, we'll be more than happy to help you through it, talk you through it, show you the right people to contact to get the help you need so that you can keep moving forward. Because suicide and mental health, it's not a laughing matter. It's serious, and it needs to be taken that way. You know, unfortunately, looks like Triage's system went down, so he's not going to be able to pop back in. But it's we'll leave this episode on the somber note of, by all means, please guys, ask for help. Jason David Frank, the world is going to miss you. Your family's absolutely going to miss you. He leaves behind a 18-year-old daughter, and quite a I know a lot about Jenna, but I don't know too much about his other children. But it's a tough day for a lot of people. And I wish them all the best. Sending my prayers to them and my love to them, and I hope that I hope that they're able to get through it. And with that said, that has been the Super Breakdown Limited Edition. Catch us next Sunday after next. We'll be posting about it, and we'll see you around. Later.